Of course, there are gyms in San Francisco, but the gyms aren't very good.
Favorite color, money green. Paper. I've been on my grind since I was in the 7th grade. Had my first kid, I was only 17. Always a provider for my pack like Wolverines. But you won't find me on the mountaintop. Need no calculator, I could weigh it cause it kinda lot. Always on my job around that paper like a Michael Scott. Your boyfriend is Dwight, you want my spot.
It's just pretty cool to see that someone like that is still here at the gym 10 years later. I'm about to make my trek to the gym, and that's actually what this video is going to be about. I've been asked a lot why I drive 27 miles to go to the gym, and I'm going to give you a more thorough answer about why I do that, finally.
Money, yeah. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. Get paid, yeah.
At the gym now, and I get this question all the time. I get it from people in my YouTube comments, I get it from people that I just talk to at work or friends. Why do you drive 27 miles to go to the gym? You live in a big city, I live in San Francisco, and they always say there's gotta be gyms in San Francisco. And of course, there are gyms in San Francisco, but the gyms aren't very good. I hate to say that. There's reasons for it. It's not as simple as like, they're just bad gyms. But I moved here in March of 2021. I didn't know a single person in the Bay Area. I had never been to the Bay Area, knew nothing about it, literally showed up to an apartment I rented online that I had never seen before, literally didn't know a soul. So it was during COVID, and a lot of the city was still doing masking all the time. There were people masked on the street. It was just a lot of covered up, and like I said, I didn't know a single person. I had not met anybody. I had no friends. I have no family out here. I was just on my own, which I've done a lot for moves. So when I moved here, I tried gyms in San Francisco. That's what made sense. I never would have thought to come out here to Contra Costa County. I didn't even know anything about this area, so didn't even really know existed. So I tried gyms in the city, and I went to a couple, and not many of them were super close to my apartment. So one I was trying, I had to drive to, and it was only about a 10 to 15 minute drive depending on traffic and lights. But then when I got there, there's no parking, and you have to pay for parking and look for parking. And by the time I did that, it could take, I'd have to leave 30 to 45 minutes early just to try to find somewhere to put my car, because it was like about 2.5 miles away from my apartment, and that's just not a realistic walk to do every day, or to run to the gym and then run back, run 5 miles round trip, and then work out in the middle. That's just not super feasible. So I did that for a while, and because the parking was so difficult over there, it just did not end up working out. The gym was okay. Wasn't my ideal gym, but it was just too far. They had another location that was currently closed because of COVID, and because they were just keeping, they have 3 locations total, I believe. They were just keeping one open at that time, and they opened a second one, and they opened the third one that was closest to my house just in January of this year, 2022. So about 10 months after I moved here. That one's only 0.4 of a mile away from my house, but didn't even open until January, and then it was limited hours. Another gym that was closer, within walking distance, I think it changed locations since I first went there. I think it was about a half mile, and now it's 0.8 of a mile from my apartment. That gym had limited hours. They were only open 6 and 7 a.m. with their 2 classes in the morning, and then 5 and 6 their 2 classes in the afternoon. So I work 3 to 11 p.m. In the past, I worked 1 to 9 p.m. on the weekdays, and I definitely couldn't go to the 5 or 6 in the afternoon because I was literally at work. And 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. is just a little bit early if you are not getting home and not eating dinner and not walking my dog until after 9. It's just hard to get up that early. So it just became very difficult to work out at those gyms. Also, that gym that had the limited hours had lots of rules about if you can't drop barbells, you can't drop wall balls because of like noise complaints in the city. So it just made it really difficult to work out the way I've worked out. And it might sound like I'm being overly picky about my CrossFit gym, but I have been a member of CrossFit gyms throughout my entire adulthood, throughout my career. And I have moved a ton throughout my career. So my first CrossFit gym was in New Jersey, then in Syracuse, New York, Rochester, Minnesota, then I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, then I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's 6 different places prior to here that I was members at gyms, and some of them it was 2 gyms depending on if I tried a gym and then decided to move to a different gym. So I've been a member at lots of CrossFit gyms, and because of that, you can sort of tell which gyms are really good and which gyms you're gonna like long term. And I just wasn't getting that feeling from many of the gyms in the city, and there aren't a lot that are super close. I'm gonna put up some of the locations here, but most are almost a mile or over a mile away from my apartment, which means that I either have a very long walk or I have to drive. And if I have to drive with lights and traffic in the city and then actually finding parking, it ends up being just as long as it takes to get out here. And it could be longer because at least when I get out here, I know that I have a parking spot to leave my car in and get inside. I also know that this gym, it's Diablo CrossFit in Pleasant Hill, California, is a really good gym. So how, after all this, did I stumble upon Diablo? Because yes, there are some gyms that are in between the city and here that are closer and might be an easier drive. And I did try one of those too. I tried Pacific Strength in Oakland as well. And that's a really good gym too. But again, you have to pay for parking. It's just not as simple. I'm already coming over the bridge, which means to come here, it's really not that much farther. I mean, it is in miles, but because it's just like a straight shoot and there's not a lot of lights, there's like 2 between the highway and here, it just doesn't take as long. When I got off the bridge and was in Oakland, there's just more lights, more turns, and then paying for parking. So you have to weigh, does saving 10 minutes benefit me more, or getting here and having free guaranteed parking? And it ended up being the free guaranteed parking. Also out here, the price of the actual gym is more reasonable. There was one gym, the gym that is closest to me now, the 0.4 of a mile away gym, it costs $360, I believe. I'll have to check that. But $360 every 4 weeks. So it's not even monthly. So you get an extra month every year that you have to pay for, or an extra billing period that you have to pay for. So it ends up actually being cheaper to pay for the gas and the wear and tear on the car to come out here. And I spend like $170 less on my membership here and it just has more access. There's more classes here. It's pretty much open from like 5 a.m. till 8:30 p.m. So it gives me more opportunities to get in here. It's a bigger gym. I'm gonna show you what the gym looks like after this so that you can see what I get. And that's a big part of why I come here too. And I've built relationships here with people. I've built relationships with coaches. I've made friends. And it's just hard to give all that up. But I did think about moving to that gym closer to my house when it reopened in January. And I've spoke to some of the coaches there because I know some of them. And I asked them what they think about the gym. They're like, it's different. And that is honestly not the best selling statement for a gym. And I know one of the coaches goes to a different gym for his own personal workouts. And again, to me, that doesn't really sell the gym because I know most of the coaches here at my gym work out here unless they're doing a different style of workout in addition to their CrossFit workout. So it's made sense, and it's a complicated answer, but a lot of my people are out here now because I've met all my people out here, my friends, the people I like to hang out with, they're all here. So this is what makes sense for me. But how did I come across Diablo? Diablo CrossFit is a name I'd heard a ton back when there were NorCal regionals. So when I got stuck in this position that I just didn't know where to go because I was having trouble with the gyms in the city, I looked up Diablo. And I was like, how far away is that? And when I saw it was only like a 35-minute drive, I'm like, maybe I should try it. Because I was so frustrated with the gyms in the city, I didn't know if I could ever get into them to actually work out. That was a major problem. And everything was masked in the city at that point. Everyone wore masks at the gym. It was very hard to make friends, to communicate with anybody. There was a mask mandate throughout the city. So it wasn't the individual gyms putting this in place, it was the city. And I went the first month living here without talking to another human, really, without seeing another human's face from here down. It was a big benefit coming out here for my physical health as well as my emotional and mental health. And because I built relationships out here, it's really hard to leave, even when I've thought about it and looked into other gyms because of my schedule and difficulty getting out here. But I'm just trying to make other adjustments to make this work because this is my place. Let me show you it. So when you walk into the gym, I'm outside right now. So walking in, you have all this turf and you can just see, like, look at all the equipment you have here. You don't see this in the gyms in the city a lot of the times because they just don't have the space to have this much equipment. This is the main gym area where it says Diablo. It's pretty big. It goes all the way from there, down over there. And then if we come over onto the side, we have 2 side gyms that people can use for open gym time. You can see there's a sign that says Diablo CrossFit Open Gym. And all of this space you can use for whatever you want to do on your own time outside of classes. But we do have a ton of class times throughout the day. But there's a lot of equipment over here. You can see we've got an air runner that's new, so that's pretty cool. Not a lot of gyms have that there. And then over here we have a weightlifting room. So that's also pretty awesome. All those platforms you can see are just really awesome things to have. And a lot of gyms just don't have that. We also have a this is sort of a entrance room, and it has a bunch of things hung up on the wall that are pretty cool. I'll show you that. We've got all these CrossFit Games jerseys. Not that this matters, like, to tell if a gym is good or not. There can be great gyms that have never sent anyone to the games. But it just shows how long people at this gym have been involved in the sport. You can see the first jersey here is from the 2009 CrossFit Games. So that's pretty cool. This is 2012. Jamie Lee, he's still here at the gym. He does all our programming. So it's just pretty cool to see that someone like that is still here at the gym 10 years later. And we just have like a ton of these all around CrossFit Games jerseys all around the entrance of the gym. And there's also this shop here that has lots of cool stuff that you could need. We've got some salts, we've got protein, you've got a refrigerator filled with, Fit Aid and Kill Cliff. There's a lot of stuff you don't see as much at other gyms. And I guess it's called a pro store, I think is what they call this, but it's just a pretty cool environment. And I think all these shirts just show how long this gym has been around and how consistently good it's been throughout that time. And that's how I had heard of it. I had heard of the gym through the CrossFit Games space. So you can see like how that makes a difference. Not that it's necessary for a good gym, but it definitely makes a difference to know the name and to see that they're consistently performing well and that it's a gym that's going to push you, which is what I was looking for. And there's just less of that in the city. All the gyms are newer or just less consistent. So I knew that this is more of what I was looking for, and pretty awesome to have found it, even if it is 27 miles from my apartment.
Get paid, little shorty, get paid. 100,000 in the safe, couple thousand in the drain. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. No, I'm always on my grind, 24/7 days. Favorite color, money green. I've been on my grind since I was in the 7th grade. Had my first kid, I was only 17. Always a provider for my pack like Wolverines. But you won't find me on the mountaintop. Need no calculator, I can weigh it 'cause it kinda lie. Always on my top around that paper like a Michael Scott. Your boyfriend is Dwight, he want my spot, he always round a lot. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. 100,000 in the safe, couple thousand in the jeans. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. No, I'm always on my grind, 24/7 days. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. Get paid, yeah, get the money, yeah. Get paid, little shorty, get paid. Get paid, yeah, get the money, yeah. Yeah, I just stack it up and save. Never be a day I blow 100 for a chain. No. I drop 100 for a crane. Build a whole block and make that back 100 ways. No more frowning, now I smile a lot. Got these records brewing like some coffee where I ground a lot. Know that there's no room left at the top. Bet I'll find a spot. Parallel the vision got me spinning like a tire shop. Get paid, little shorty, get paid.
Just finished that workout. I finished in 5:31. I did all the wall balls unbroken. I have a slow wall ball cadence though, so there were people that did the same 30 wall balls as me and were off the wall like 5 seconds sooner, and that just starts to add up. I don't know what to do about that, but I am very happy that my wall balls were all unbroken, because that's a movement I am not usually very good at, and I just tried to stay like mentally in it and focus on the fact that like once I do that first set of 30, half of them are done. And I get breaks with the other 2 sets because it's 20 and 10. So just tried to keep it slow. Also, the first 30, you're completely recovered for. I did the squats beforehand, which went well, but are their own challenge with all those pausing. But because of that, I was fairly fresh going into the 30. I feel like if I came off the run into the 30, it would be very different than doing the 30 to start and then going to run. So because you have the 30 right off the bat, I think it's a workout that you can attempt unbroken. The coach suggested 20-10 and then 20 unbroken and the 10. So basically like keeping the second set of the rep scheme and doing that for the first set. I think unbroken is very possible if you're fairly trained in wall balls. So give it a try. It's a fast one. It's a burner. Your heart rate gets high. I was like in the 170s, and it was fun. Carson just wanted to wrap this up for reminding you all to like and subscribe, right, Carson? Carson, say hi to YouTube. And I do want to add that I know some people are going to still think it's completely insane that I drive this far just for the gym. I get that. It is kind of insane. I think it's kind of insane too. But it's hard to find a gym that you just gel with and want to be at sometimes. And I found that, and I am willing to go the extra mile to be there. I get if you think it's nuts and you're going to say that in the comments or something, but for me, it makes sense. And I do appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.